He was sleeping, and I think I had the knife unsheathed, and I stabbed him in the stomach, and then he woke up and started screaming.
Did you stab him again?
Yeah, I stabbed him a bunch of times.
Okay, where?
Everywhere, mostly in the neck and stomach.
Corey Johnson, he's the man who killed a 13-year-old during a sleepover.
Johnson killed not because he was insane, but because he wanted to.
Did ISIS make him do it?
This is 17-year-old Corey Johnson, who took his religious beliefs to an extreme level. But before we dive into the psychological dimension, it's important to spotlight 3 distinct elements unique and important to this case. 1. Corey harbored religious extremist beliefs. 2. He was autistic, although this wasn't discovered until the case was already in court. And 3. Corey was suffering from depression. As the interrogation proceeds, each of these elements will come to the surface to highlight a different side of the story and the psychology behind it. But first, what did Corey do? On March 12, 2018, Giovanni Sierra was turning 13. There was a party at a downtown Palm Beach Gardens restaurant where Giovanni's friend, 13-year-old Dane Bancroft, his 15-year-old brother Kyle Bancroft, and 17-year-old Corey Johnson met and celebrated. They all were going to stay at Bancroft Brothers' home where they lived with their mother, Elaine Simon. Corey had been to that house many times because Kyle was his best friend. But that night was different. When everyone was asleep, Corey decided to act out his wildest fantasies. He took out his knife and started stabbing the birthday boy, Giovanni. When Elaine heard the commotion, she went upstairs to check, but met Corey with blood on his hands, face, body, and a knife which he held. He slashed at her and proceeded to enter his best friend Kyle's younger brother Dane's room. Dane was asleep when Corey started stabbing him too. Corey at this point looked excited and happy. Elaine was injured but safe. Amidst the commotion, she had called the police to her house, and by now, Corey had locked himself in a closet. Finally, the officers were able to apprehend him, and you'll now watch the interrogation that followed.
All right, Corey, before I get going, I want to just go through your rights again to let them out at the scene. Just bear with me while I read through them again, all right? I'm required to warn you before you make a statement of the following constitutional rights. You have the right to remain silent, not answer any questions. Tell me in your own words what you think this means.
I don't have to answer anything you say.
Right. Any statement you make must be freely and voluntarily given. Tell me what you think this means.
I have to give it on my own free will.
Yes. You have the right to the presence and representation of a lawyer of your choice before you make any statement and during any question. What does that mean?
I have the right to get a lawyer before I answer anything.
That's correct. If you cannot afford a lawyer, you're entitled to the present representation of a court-appointed lawyer before you make any statement and during any questioning. What does that mean?
I can't afford a lawyer. The state will give me.
Good. If at any time during the interview you do not wish to answer any questions, you may remain silent. Tell me what this means to you.
I don't have to answer anything you ask.
Right.
during the interview.
Good. I can make threats or promises to induce you to make a statement. Your statement must be of your own free will. What does that mean?
You can't try to promise me something or threaten me with something to say something that I don't want to.
That's right. Lastly, any statement can and will be used against you in a court of law. What does that mean to you?
Anything I say here will be used against me in the trial.
Sure. You understand everything I just explained to you?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Miranda rights are like a double-edged sword. They help keep things fair, but they also make it tough for detectives figuring out the details of a case to give closure to the families involved. But it's even more challenging when it comes to minors. Studies suggest you'd need to be in at least 6th grade to get about 75% of the rights, and around 9th grade to really get it all. However, having these rights isn't sufficient to protect them, because even if the suspected minor did something that would haunt an adult, these rights exist for an important purpose. Being in an enclosed space with serious-looking grown-ups can be overwhelming, and sometimes leading to false confessions. Hence, interrogators prioritize a friendly approach and recognize the importance of being approachable. In certain cases, court services step in and act as an ad litem parent for the minors. However, in many states, including Florida, police can interrogate minors without an adult present.
So, how old are you today?
I'm 17.
Okay. What's the last grade school you completed?
I was completed.
What are you in now? You're enrolled now. What are you in?
I I was in 11th grade at Dwyer, but I dropped out and I was going to take online school.
Okay, so the last grade you were registered in was 11th. When did you drop out?
I don't know if I'm officially withdrawn yet, but I haven't gone to school for a month or two.
Okay. Tell us about what brings you to Balance community.
My best friend Kyle invited me over to have a sleepover.
How old is Kyle?
He just turned 15.
What's Kyle's last name?
Bancroft. Bancroft.
So it's Monday morning now. When did you go to the house?
Last night I was at downtown at the Gardens, and his mom picked us up and drove us there.
What's his mom's name?
Elaine Simon.
Who?
Elaine Simon.
Simon?
Yes.
And she lives at that address?
Yes.
Okay. Who all lives in that house?
Kyle, his brother Dane, and Elaine.
Kyle has a brother, Dane.
Yes.
How old is Dane?
I think he's 13.
Dane Bancroft?
Yes.
Is there a dad that lives with him?
The dad lives in Gardens, right next to Dwyer.
You know his name?
Lucas Bancroft.
The physical arrangement in the interrogation room can have a strong impact on the psychological state of the person being questioned. In this context, Corey's physical positioning in the interrogation room, tucked away in a corner near the wall, may induce feelings of discomfort, intimidation, and powerlessness. The detectives sitting directly in front of him create a visual confrontation that can be psychologically impactful. The direct face-to-face arrangement tends to intensify the perceived pressure.
Where did you move from?
Missouri.
Missouri. With your mom and dad?
I moved with my mom and my two siblings away from my dad because he was not a good person.
Does your dad still live in Missouri?
He died when I was 10 or 11.
I'm sorry to hear that. So you just live with mom?
I lived with my mom, her boyfriend Jay, and my two siblings.
Who are your siblings?
Emily Johnson, Evan Johnson. Emily is 15, I think, and Evan he just turned 12.
So you're the oldest.
Yes.
They all live in Jupiter?
They all live at 135 years.
At Cape Point Circle?
Mm-hmm.
What makes a person more vulnerable? Loneliness. Throughout this interrogation, you'll be able to understand that Corey felt alone in his family, and that was compensated for in his friendship with Kyle. Before he even had the chance to obtain a driver's license, Corey had found himself relocated halfway across the country and witnessed his parents' ugly divorce. Corey's mother, Jennifer DeCoco Johnson, had been a lost child without any goals. She met with a serious accident when she was 16 and fell into depression. Later, at 24, she entered into a marriage with 37-year-old Lee Michael Johnson, a man described as having a dual personality, akin to Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Soon enough, these traits started showing in their relationship, marked by abuse and instability. Despite this, Corey's father, Lee, shared a bond with his kids through video games. Whatever little semblance of a happy family the Johnsons shared was lost when Corey's father succumbed to an accidental heroin overdose. Meanwhile, his mother's depression and prescription medication abuse got worse. She showed signs of erratic behavior, and Corey and his siblings kept missing school. Living in the shadow of these challenges, Corey withdrew, becoming a loner who struggled to find hope and often kept to himself at family gatherings. He became lost, but not like his mother. He sought extreme ways to release his anger, frustration, and hopelessness. Corey's experiences, including parental substance abuse, domestic violence, and family instability, could have contributed to his psychological vulnerabilities. While it is to be noted that extremist groups often target such individuals facing emotional turmoil or a sense of isolation.
It is, but we don't really talk over text. We talk over Telegram mostly.
What's Telegram?
It's an anonymous. It's secure, so nobody could read it.
What?
But I do have his number in my phone.
I'm not up on that app. Why not just text each other? I mean,
Because we don't. So I know I was on the FBI terrorist watch list. And
Okay.
They came to his house and they talked to him. So we just followed no security.
okay. You're a young guy. Why are you on the terrorist watch list?
Because they think I'm going to join ISIS.
Why?
I guess. I think I got on the list because I was just on YouTube. And I was watching videos, and I guess I didn't know who he was at the time, but you know Anwar al-Awlaki.
Yeah, I've heard of him.
Yeah, I guess I stumbled onto some of his videos and then got their attention. I guess
What year was that?
this was about a year ago.
So it's March of 2018 now. You think it was like March of 2017 or before that?
I think it was March of 2017.
What's on the videos?
I don't remember what I watched.
Okay. Did they come and talk to you personally?
They came to my house. They talked to my mom and myself.
What did they say?
Just trying to. I don't remember exactly what they said. Just trying to stay away from bad stuff.
Don't watch the
Trying
videos?
to scare me straight. I didn't even know because the video wasn't about terrorism or anything. I think it was just a history video. But because it was by him, I think that's what got their attention.
So you say it's more like a documentary that was produced by
I
him?
don't remember exactly what it is. There's a lot of accounts that
Okay.
post just random speeches by different people, and I guess he was one of them.
Did the FBI talk to Kyle?
They talked to him a couple weeks ago, maybe a month ago. I think 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago. They came to his house and they talked to him and his mom, saying, I'm a threat and I'm dangerous, and they think I'm going to do something.
Why do they think that?
Because I guess, I don't know.
You can be honest. I mean,
I really don't know.
okay.
Corey Johnson's reaction to being contacted by the FBI and being on a terrorist watch list comes across as what's psychologically called minimization. This can be a defense mechanism rooted in the subconscious to attempt and reduce the emotional discomfort associated with acknowledging the full extent of one's action. Minimization can serve as a protective barrier, shielding individuals from the emotional weight of their actions and facilitating a more manageable narrative.
Do you practice Islam? Do you follow it?
Yes,
Okay. To what extent?
fully.
Fully. Okay. How does that work? I'm not familiar. Do you go to a mosque? Do you contact somebody locally?
Well, I used to go to a mosque maybe 6, 7 months ago. I stopped going just because I went during last summer, but then when school started, I because nobody would drive me, so I had to ride my bike. And
Where is it?
it's in North Palm, I think.
Where?
I'm trying to think what it's by. It's by a car dealership, and I think it's right on the. It's right on the border of another town. I think maybe. It's one of the bad towns, maybe Riviera.
I think I heard about that mosque. I think they had some vandalism or something. Someone
Yeah.
damaged the windows intentionally.
Yeah, that's the one.
So you say fully. What does that mean? As opposed to like just drop it in. What's the difference?
Well, some people that claim to be Muslim, they just to the extent that they maybe don't eat pork and they don't drink. I don't do any of that. I pray 5 times a day. I fast during Ramadan. Do all of it.
Okay. So you read the Quran. You follow the tenets. Okay. Are you the only one in your family? How did you get into that?
I got into it online. It matched up with what I already believed in,
Okay.
and then after a while, I decided it was right, so I converted.
So this isn't a case where your mom or your neighbor or an aunt or uncle said, "Hey, we go to the mosque. Why don't you come with us?"
Right. Nobody I know. Well, I did meet some people at the mosque, but besides that, nobody I know is Muslim.
Okay. Is there a head cleric there, a mullah, somebody that is there constantly? Who's there giving?
The two main people are the imam, which is I think his name's Saeed Al-Maghribi, I think. I'm not sure. And he's the president there. Oh, Sharif Al-Husseini, something like that. He's the president there. And Sharif was always nice to me, but I haven't spoken with him in 6-7 months or so.
How come?
Just because of school, and then I was busy.
Okay, so the distance and having to ride your bike there became a little bit too much.
Especially after school, because at that point I went to physical school.
Okay. Were you still able to carry on prayer throughout the day, even though you didn't go?
Yes.
Did the visit from the FBI have anything to do with you not going there?
I started going to the mosque after the FBI came.
Okay.
So before that, I only prayed at home and did my stuff at home.
Okay. So were you able to get any support or information or religious studies online while you didn't physically go to the mosque?
Yes.
You were. And what was that money through? Online boards, websites, what?
YouTube, from Telegram, I got some text documents from famous old scholars.
Okay.
Ibn Taymiyyah, and people like that.
Okay.
You might be wondering how the FBI discovered Corey's involvement in such videos. The FBI had installed monitoring software on his computer after he was suspected of making a threat to an English high school, resulting in 100 students being evacuated from their classes. His middle school friends also reported Corey for engaging in an online behavior that resembled stalking. Corey was encouraged by the FBI to attend a mosque for education instead of relying solely on self-education. Mosques would provide structured, community-based education with an emphasis on moral values, religious teachings, and a sense of belonging. This contrasts with the unregulated and potentially harmful content on social media, where extremist ideologies can be easily accessed. One wrong decision, and adolescents like Corey can get sucked in extremist ideologies that promise identity and purpose, delivering nothing but violence and pain.
Your intention was to go from downtown with Kyle back to his house yesterday, is that right?
That's what I did.
Was Dane with Kyle?
I haven't been home in about maybe a week or so because I've been having problems with Jay, my mom's boyfriend, and I've been sleeping different places. Sometimes I slept at Sunset where I got arrested, and sometimes I slept. One time I slept at my grandma's house, and all the other times I slept at. I broke into this abandoned plaza, it's like a warehouse. I was sleeping there.
Okay, so because of your difficulties with your mom's boyfriend, you've kind of been out on the streets a bit, sleeping away from home.
Yeah.
So let's get back to downtown yesterday. You're there last evening, right? What time about?
So I walked from there because my bike got stolen. I wasn't going to go to work, and so I just walked to downtown with them, and I met up with Kyle, Dane, his brother, and there was another kid there, Zaid or something like that. And he left almost immediately when I got there. But then Dane met up with some of his friends. Dane's really popular. He has a bunch of friends.
Do you go to a movie? Do you go to a restaurant? You just walk around?
We were mostly walking around, but it was someone's birthday today. Giovanni. He's the kid that slept over at my house. And the one that slept over was along with me.
Okay, how do you know Giovanni?
I don't.
You just met him at downtown?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so at some point,
Yesterday.
Kyle's mom picks all of you up, is that correct?
Yes, we ate there because today was his birthday.
Whose birthday?
Giovanni.
What do you mean was?
I killed him.
Corey's casual and seemingly indifferent tone while discussing his day, particularly when mentioning 13-year-old Giovanni Sierra, who was killed on his birthday, indicate a level of emotional detachment or dissociation from the gravity of the events. However, his interaction and communication style, as well as his responses to emotionally charged topics, may be influenced by a psychological condition that was diagnosed in the trial stage. Corey had been suffering with autism spectrum disorder. Autistic individuals often have a tendency towards lateral thinking. Corey's correction of tenses might just be a result of a literal interpretation and not a psychopathic trait.
Where? How?
with a knife.
What room in the house?
It was at the top of the stairs.
Second floor?
Yes.
Okay.
And
What happened?
Oh, so yeah, the mom picked us up and dropped us off at the house from downtown.
With the intent, what, to have a sleepover?
Yes.
Okay. Had you been sleeping over there previous to last night?
Yes, I've done it multiple times.
Okay. So there's a sleepover. What happens with you and Giovanni? Is there an argument?
No, everything was fine. They just they were listening to music, and they were using Juul, which is a vape, and just normal stuff for their age, I guess.
What's Jewel?
It's just a little USB sized thing. It's like a vape.
Yeah, was there anything in it?
It's nicotine.
Just nicotine.
Yes.
Okay, so when you say they, who are we talking about?
Everyone.
So you're talking about Kyle, Dane, and Giovanni?
Yes.
That's it. Just those three. And yourself.
I've used it before, yes.
I want to know who's present. So it's
Yes, it's down.
Kyle?
The mom was downstairs. It was
okay. And whose room are you in?
Dane's.
You're in Dane's room.
Yes.
Okay. Everybody sharing the vape, listen to music.
Yes.
Okay. What happens?
Nothing happens. They go to bed. Kyle goes into his room. Dane stays in his room, and Giovanni goes to I don't know this one. It's either Giovanni or Giovanni. Goes to the top of the stairs and falls asleep there.
Okay. Then what happens?
And then I do my thing.
You do your thing. What is that? Be specific for me. I wasn't there.
I'm not really comfortable.
Corey's use of the phrase, "I do my thing," may suggest a level of vagueness or evasion. This response might be intentionally ambiguous to avoid providing specific details. In stressful situations, individuals might default to familiar or rehearsed phrases as a way to manage anxiety or uncertainty. In fact, Corey's choice of language indicates a lack of emotional engagement with the events being described. It suggests that Corey sees violent behavior as a part of his identity or within his realm of control. That's exactly what extremism leads to, a feeling that violence is what you're supposed to be doing. His linguistic choice implies a self-directed, intentional involvement in violent behavior, potentially distancing himself from external influences or accountability.
Did he have an argument with you?
He was asleep.
Did he insult you in any way?
Not personally.
Did he insult Islam?
No, but he was one of the main, like the biggest sin you could do is called shirk, and it could either translate to polytheism or idolatry, and like it's like ascribing false gods. Like he was calling people gods.
Who?
Giovanni.
No, who was he saying were gods? Like
I
pop
don't-
stars, music
I don't remember.
actors? Did he say that to you?
Just general. I think he was talking to me and Dane.
And he's sleeping at the top of the stairs,
Right.
which is outside of whose bedroom?
Kyle and Dane's. It's like
And where are you?
There's the area, and then there's a hallway, and it leads to their two bedrooms. They're right next to each other. Kyle and Dane.
Okay. So around what time did he make those statements?
Just
Like earlier at downtown, or while you were hanging out?
it was at the house.
It was at the house.
I don't know what time.
Did he know that he
Time
was?
it is now.
Did he know that he was insulting Islam? Okay. But it made you upset.
That's what everyone does. No, it's just I'm used to hearing stuff like that. Didn't make me enraged or anything. Just I acknowledged it.
How did you acknowledge it?
Just in my head, I didn't say anything.
You didn't want to try and convince him or show him your point of view?
No, because people like that generally don't. Like Dane and his friends. The other day, I think maybe 3 days ago at this point, it's tomorrow. So I guess 3 days ago, I was also at downtown with Dane and Kyle, and Dane had one other boy and two girls, and while I was praying, just outside, praying one of my prayers, And Dane brought the two girls and they started laughing at me. That's why I attacked Dane.
That must have made you angry.
Yes.
It would make me angry.
And,
Did they say anything?
No, they're just standing there laughing.
Okay. But Giovanni wasn't there for that.
No, I only met Giovanni yesterday.
You never knew him beforehand?
I've heard about him. I just met him today.
Okay.
Yesterday.
What do you mean you attacked Dane?
Corey appears to attribute his violent act to religious beliefs, framing it as a response to what he views as a significant transgression. It's nothing more than a distorted interpretation of religious teachings. Corey mentions being made fun of because of his religion, suggesting a potential persecution complex. Individuals with a persecution complex may perceive themselves as victims of discrimination or ridicule, which could influence their attitudes and behaviors. So what really seems to be happening here is that Corey may be projecting personal struggles, such as feelings of isolation or mistreatment, onto his religious beliefs. Using a religion as a justification could serve as a way to externalize internal conflicts.
You said that's why I attacked Dane.
Dane and Elaine are in the hospital, right?
I don't know. I know that there's people there with injuries. Okay, so that's why we're trying to find out everything. You said you didn't try and convince him. Did he know about your religious beliefs? Did he know how strongly you felt?
No, I hide it because of people. I tend to hide it. Dane knows and Kyle knows and Elaine knows, but Giovanni didn't know.
Did Dane and Kyle ascribe to any of your beliefs? Did they follow Islam at all?
Kyle is my best friend, pretty much my only, well, was my only friend, and he doesn't follow Islam, but he respects it and he doesn't make fun of it at all or anything like that. Dane, he doesn't say anything directly to my face, but I know how he feels. He thinks it's weird and he thinks it's part of the prayer. You put your forehead on the ground. He's like, "Why are you doing that?"
He's only 13, though. I mean, you know.
He's a lot more mature than.
Is it?
Just talking about what he did with girls, like weed and all that kind of stuff. Dane, Giovanni, bragging about that kind of stuff.
The interplay of friendship, religious beliefs, fear of ridicule, and violent actions underscores the complexity of Corey's motivations. The contradiction in Corey's actions, hiding his beliefs to avoid ridicule and then reacting violently to perceived violations of his beliefs, is no doubt an extreme reaction to betrayal. Corey's actions may be influenced by a process of radicalization, where an exposure to extremist ideologies leads to a shift in beliefs and a willingness to use violence to enforce those beliefs.
Okay, so I want to get back. I said Giovanni's at the top of the stairs. He's asleep.
Yes.
What do you do?
Well, you're recording me and I don't want to say anything.
Okay. I want you to feel honest. All right. I want you to be able to tell me what happened. You said you killed him. You said with a knife. I want to know how. What happened? Where did you get? Was it your own?
When I was at the McDonald's, there's a Publix pretty much across the street.
Mhm.
So right before I was going to work to Winn-Dixie, I walked there to Publix and I bought some dates, I bought a drink, and I bought a 6-inch utility kitchen knife, which is
You mean like a box cutter knife or a kitchen knife, like just a straight edge?
It's called a utility knife. It's just a straight edge. I don't know why they call it utility knife. It's kind of like a combination between the chef's knife and a carving knife.
So like an all-around kitchen knife. No serrated blade, no folding, it's just solid. Okay. So why do you buy the knife?
It was for self-defense, I guess. I just wanted to have a knife, and Dane had a knife, and Dane's other friend had a knife. I forget his name. I think it's Jimmy, I think.
Okay. So do you keep that with you? Do you have
I bought it today, and I was wearing those. I don't know if you saw. I was wearing black pants, and
I
they're
didn't see it.
puffed at the bottom, and they really baggy up at the top. So I had these really big pockets, and it fit in there.
Is it one of these that comes with like a plastic sheath on
Yeah,
it?
it had a plastic sheath. I left it in the bathroom with my wallet.
You left the knife?
No, because after I went downstairs and Elaine escaped the house to call the police, I ran to the computer room and I originally was in the bathroom, and I took out my wallet and the knife sheath. I had the knife in my hand, and I left them in the bathroom, but for some reason I decided to go to the closet just a little bit away. That's where I hid until I came out.
Of course, the detective is sitting there to get the full story, but there are some parts of the story that are more important than the others. Questions surrounding the purchase and intent behind the knives explores whether the crime was planned or impulsive. These details can significantly influence whether Corey, who is a minor, will be tried as an adult, as premeditation often carries heavier legal consequences.
What was going through your mind? What were you thinking when he's sleeping on the floor? Is it all the insults to Islam that have kind of built up?
Well, no, it's not even that. It's just, that's one of the reasons, but just, I guess, yeah. I guess.
Well, you tell me. I mean, I want you to be able to express what you feel. I mean, he's asleep, so there obviously wasn't an altercation at that moment. So, what do you think?
Just, I know he's not a good person.
You could say it.
He's not a good person. He does weed. He does stuff with girls, fornication, and today's was his birthday. He just turned 13, and just a bad person overall. And then he went and said people or whatever are gods or godlike or something like that.
Were you supposed to be sleeping in one room, and you came out? What room were you supposed to be sleeping in?
No, I wasn't supposed to be sleeping anywhere. I mean, everyone fell asleep in different rooms. Dane was in his room, Powell was in his room, and Giovanni was on the floor in the top.
On the top of the landing of the steps?
You go up the stairs, there's an area. That's what it was.
And where were you?
I was in Dane's room on Dane's bed. Dane was sleeping. He put out an air mattress, and for some reason he was sleeping not on his own bed, on the air mattress.
Okay.
I was just on Dane's bed until I decided to go.
Okay. And the knife is still in your pocket when you leave the room, the bedroom?
Yes.
Okay. Do you take the sheath off in the bedroom?
I had it on and off just because I went out there and I was like, oh, I probably shouldn't do this.
Okay. And how did you do it?
Well, he was sleeping, and I think I had the knife unsheathed, and I stabbed him in the stomach, and then he woke up and started screaming, and then I don't really remember exactly what happened after that.
Did you stab him again?
Yeah, I stabbed him a bunch of times.
Okay, where?
Everywhere, mostly in the neck and stomach.
And what was he doing?
He was screaming, trying to save himself.
Was he battling with his hands? Was he telling you to stop? Was he calling for help?
Yeah.
All those things. Do you know if his arms got cut at all when he was trying to fight you off?
I don't know.
Was he calling for
He
Kyle?
was just saying help, no, stop, or something like that. Okay. And then Elaine woke up.
And then what happened?
She was just saying, what's going on, you guys are scaring me. And then she eventually came up the stairs, and I lunged at her. And she fell down the stairs, and I don't know, she was on the floor, and then Dane woke up. So I guess she ran outside, and I guess she called the police from there.
Okay.
And I ran back up, and I started attacking Dane. When
you lunged at Elaine, were you able to slice or stab her?
Yeah, she got cut a couple times.
Where?
I don't know.
Okay.
Corey's justification for the crime, citing Giovanni's alleged involvement with drugs and women, suggests a moral judgment and potential rationalization for his actions. You can also notice how he is fairly remorseless throughout. This emotional numbness may result from psychological distress, coping mechanisms, or in some cases, certain psychiatric conditions. Autism, for instance, could contribute to difficulties in expressing or recognizing emotions in a conventional manner. Besides, radicalized individuals exhibit a diminished emotional response, viewing actions through a rigid ideological lens that justifies extreme measures.
So she goes downstairs or out of the house?
I don't know. She was left laying on the floor, and I ran up because Dane was waking up. I didn't want him to call the police.
And what was Dane saying?
He said he's scared.
Okay. So then what? What'd you do to Dan?
I attacked him.
Okay. How?
I stabbed him in the stomach, I think.
Okay. How many times did you stab him?
I don't know, a lot.
Okay. And then what happens?
I don't know if Dane or Elaine or what. Dane was a lot more injured than Elaine was.
Why?
Just because I was on him longer.
Were you able to stab him more times than Elaine?
Not more.
Okay. And then what happens?
I go into Kyle's room and I say, Kyle, wake, because we always used to mess with Kyle whenever Dane's got a sleepover and he's got some friends. Kyle's sleeping, we used to go in and mess with them and say all these, this stuff.
Go ahead, share it. Like what?
I'm trying to think. We never said this exactly, but I can't think of any examples. Like, Kyle, the house is on fire, you gotta get up. Like, we never said that specifically, but just
some type of emergencies or something that would startle him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And I was like, Kyle, I just killed Giovanni and I attacked Dane and Kyle. I'm not gonna hurt you because you're my best friend, but I want you to get up and I want you to. I forget what I told him. I want you to just be up and I want you to accept Islam. I want you to be safe. Stuff like that.
You want him to convert?
Yes.
So that he could be saved.
Yes.
And what did he say?
He didn't say anything. He didn't believe me. He was just sitting on the bed, and then I opened the door, and I think you could see Giovanni's body, and his throat was sliced, blood all over the carpet, and then I think he was just kind of sitting on the bed in shock. And then
was Giovanni making any noises at this point?
He was dead at that point.
He was dead at that point. And what was Dane doing?
He was lying on the airbed bleeding.
Did you see him making any sounds, calling for help?
Quietly.
Who's he calling?
Just like making noises. Just like, noises.
Okay.
I don't think he was calling anyone specifically.
And what's Kyle doing? While you're talking to him, what's his response to you?
Well, he just woke up, so I think he was half awake, and then he was just kind of sitting on the bed in disbelief. And then, like, he thought I was joking, because we always joke around with him. Mm-hmm. But then, like, once he saw them, like, there were no lights in the room, but I guess eventually saw my hands were all bloody, my whole arms, all my clothes were soaked in blood, and just probably on my face too. And he probably saw Giovanni in his body, and he started realizing that everything's fine. Or not fine, everything's real. I wasn't lying.
Was he able to see Giovanni from his bed looking out the door?
I don't know if he saw it, but you can see it from where he was. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw it or not.
No, I didn't.
No, if Kyle saw it.
I don't know.
I don't know.
Okay.
As we have mentioned earlier, Corey's absence of emotional engagement or any indication of neither pride nor remorse suggests emotional detachment coupled with a normalcy. He feels normal about the violence, as if that's what's normal, that's what's to be done. Corey's belief that conversion could offer protection may reflect a distorted understanding of religious teachings and extremist narratives that associate safety with a specific belief system. It links Corey to the usual coercive dynamics that's part of radicalization. Did you notice him talking about emergency-based pranks? It can very well suggest a blurred line between reality and fiction. To him, all of this can feel like a dream or a story rather than being a real-life incident.
So then what happens? You're asking him to convert.
I didn't expect a response from him, because I always talk to him and say, hey, you need to convert. I want you to be saved. I want you to go to heaven, paradise, whatever you want to call it. Mm-hmm. And he's like, I think he was getting kind of interested, and then but he didn't really want to. So I guess he really likes bacon or something. He didn't want to go bacon.
Is that the response you were surprised by?
No. And he didn't want to pray 5 times a day. And just Kyle's was my best friend, so I didn't want to attack him like with words, like saying, hey, I can't be your friend because you're not going to do this. So,
because he was at least supportive of your beliefs throughout your friendship. Mm-hmm. Then what happens?
At the house?
Yeah.
I run downstairs into the computer room, and I at this point I was close to passing out because I was just like my vision was getting all blurry. I could barely stand, and I just sat inside the bathroom for a while, and I was sitting in the shower area,
Okay.
and I took my my wallet out of my left pocket. I took the plastic sheath out of my right pocket, and I just put them in the corner. And then after a while, I was thinking this isn't a good spot, so I just tossed from there. So I just walk over to. This is the computer room. It's got a bathroom on one side and it's got a closet on the other. So I just go over to the closet, and I was hiding in there until I
Had you left your wallet and the knife in the bathroom? You did.
the knife sheath. I had the knife on me.
Oh, you kept the knife with you?
Yes.
Okay. What about your phone throughout this? Where's your phone?
I have no idea.
But was it somewhere in the house?
It must have fallen out of my pocket or something when I attacked
Okay.
Giovanni. Maybe I left it on the top of the stairs.
So you're in the closet. Is Kyle still up in the bedroom?
I assume so.
Okay. And then what happens?
Well, I was there for a while, and then
His relationship with Kyle held a special meaning for Corey, which can explain why he would want to make him a convert too. He was on his journey alone, and he would have wanted his friend to join him. What do you think about him feeling like passing out? Corey's physical symptoms may align with emotional overwhelm. Stressful situations can trigger physical symptoms including dizziness, blurred vision, and faintness. So, even though Corey believes that he's supposed to engage in violence, his body is exhibiting physiological stress response. Corey's physical symptoms can also be linked to a crisis of identity or morality. Engaging in violent acts contrary to his previous behavior may have led to internal turmoil.
Is this a clothing closet? Or like a utility closet where they store...
it's like a walk-in closet.
For Elaine?
It's Elaine's. She was a lawyer and a family lawyer, and she has what are they called? The things you pull open. Cabinet.
Like a drawer.
Drawer.
Yep.
She had drawers and she had a shelf.
Okay, so you're in there.
Right.
Is there a light on?
Yes.
Is there a window
Yes.
to the outside?
Yes.
Okay, so you're in there, the light's on, then what?
I just waited there for a while. Nothing much happened until the police showed up, and then they started telling me to come out. And I was in there.
How are they telling you to come out?
Just saying, this is whoever, or not, this is the Gardens Police Department. Come out with your hands up.
Okay. And what's your response?
I don't say anything, or if I say, no, nothing, blah, blah. And
Can you repeat it? I don't understand.
it's Arabic, it means there is no God but Allah.
Okay.
And I just stood in there for a while, and I was in there for maybe an hour until they started getting serious, and they brought in like a robot, and they were shooting the door with something. Like I saw the bullet holes.
How do you know there's a robot?
I saw it.
Okay. You have the door open to the closet?
When they were trying to break up, it's just a push, like a fold door, but they were pushing it open with something, and it got open a bit, and it opened even more when I threw it down the shelf onto the ground and kind of opened the door too. So I saw the robot, and I heard the robot. It's got the voice saying, "You need to come out." And I eventually just I threw my knife out so they know I'm unarmed, because that's all I have on me. And then I sat in there for maybe another 5-10 minutes, like thinking what to do. And eventually I just they right as I was about to come out, for some reason they threw some kind of gas, tear gas, I don't know. And it started making my face burn, my eyes burn. I couldn't breathe. But I was coming out anyway, so they didn't need to do that.
The gas deployment in this context can be perceived as an attempt to exert authority and control over him, potentially triggering feelings of resistance or defiance. He's seeing himself as a victim without associating all this with the crime he just committed. He seems to be feeling that the officers were out to get him. Corey's assertion that the gas wasn't necessary reflects a belief that the law enforcement response was disproportionate. This perception contributes to a sense of injustice or resentment. Corey's reaction during the interactions with law enforcement, including his decision to lock himself in the closet and inquire about specific individuals, might reflect difficulties in reading or responding to social cues appropriately. But that can very well be just a stress response known as fight or flight. It involves the activation of the sympathetic nervous system, triggering a cascade of responses that prepare the body to either confront the threat, fight, or escape from it. In Corey's situation, aspects of both the fight and flight response may be observed.
But I come out, they say put your hands up, and they get on the floor, and say hit him with the shield, and they smash me down on the floor with the shield. Mm-hmm. And then they put the wire handcuffs on me.
Okay. And they take you out.
They take you out, and then everything else happens.
So the last you know, to your belief, and correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, Giovanni is dead still at the top of the stairs where he lay. Is that right? Okay. Dane is in his bedroom.
Well, when I was talking back and forth with the police when they were trying to get me to come out, I said, "Where's Kyle?" They said, "Right here," but they wouldn't tell me anymore. I don't know where he is now. But I asked, "Where's Elaine and Dane?" And they said they were taken to the hospital. And I said, "Where's Giovanni?" And they said they don't know. They're with me. So,
It's impossible to say if his questions about Dane, Kyle, Elaine, and Giovanni can indicate an underlying capacity for empathy or attachment to them, or if it's just an attempt to confirm the outcomes. When law enforcement deals with a minor, particularly in situations involving apprehension, they need to employ age-appropriate communication. And given the potential complexities in Corey's case, officers may need to approach the situation with an awareness of any mental health challenges.
So let's go back to this morning. Corey, I guess I understand what happened. Why now? I'm hoping you can help us understand. It seems like Elaine was nice enough to let you stay there in the past. Is that right?
yeah, but she's always had problems with me, and she's texting Kyle that, "Oh, you're lucky I let Corey stay over," and she talks about how she doesn't like me and she thinks I'm a bad person, bad influence.
Why?
I don't think she likes Islam.
Had she insulted Islam before?
No. Well, not really. I mean, she's talked about oh, you should come to church. Oh, you don't need to go to the just because you're Muslim, you could still go to church, right, and learn about Jesus and stuff like that. Just nothing insulting, but I don't know if she's just ignorant or.
How do you feel about that?
I just said no, I wouldn't like to go. That was the end of it.
But how do you feel about it?
Just.
Did it make you angry?
No, it didn't really affect me. Just saying I didn't want to go.
I mean, you told me you never met Giovanni before yesterday. Is that right?
Yeah.
I'm just trying to figure out why you would attack him first if he's the person you met the most recently.
Because he was just the easiest, I guess. I was never going to hurt Kyle because he was my best friend. Mm-hmm. And Elaine was locked downstairs in her room, and Dane was sprawled in a corner, so it was hard to get to him. Mm-hmm. And Giovanni was just laying on the floor.
Had you been speaking about your beliefs at all earlier on in the night? And the conversation didn't go well, you got mad, and that's when you planned to do it when they went to sleep?
No, I didn't talk about the beliefs.
When you bought the knife, did you have it in mind that you would hurt the next person that insulted you or your religion?
Well, I was thinking for self-defense, but I was thinking if anything like this happens, at least I have it. So it was mostly for self-defense, especially since my bike got stolen and I saw some kids that might have done it. And I flashed the knife and they all ran away. But that was yesterday. But I guess I was maybe in the back of my mind thinking I could do something like this, but that wasn't the main plan.
Did you have a location in mind, maybe other than the house or other than these people?
Just anyone.
Maybe people were more strangers, or what was going through your mind?
Just anyone.
The emphasis on motive, target selection, and the detective's questioning strategy collectively contribute to the evaluation of premeditation in Corey's case. By presenting choices that imply premeditation, the detective is probing for insights into Corey's thought processes and whether the killings were planned in advance. And Corey's reasoning contributes to forethought, as the decision to kill them seems influenced by personal feelings rather than immediate threat. Choosing a target based on perceived vulnerability or ease indicates a level of planning and consideration.
How many times did you go there?
A lot. It was just over the summer though, so I don't know. I didn't keep counting anything.
Did you go to Italy?
Well,
Well, I'm not familiar. How much did they encourage you to go?
we were supposed to go every Friday,
Every Friday?
but that's like the holy day. Like Christians have the Sunday, and but they also had these classes where they just taught about Islamic stuff, and they were on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and I sometimes attended those.
Oh, okay. You didn't meet anybody there that you became friendly with or anything?
I was always friendly with Sharif, the president.
The president?
But
Did he teach these classes?
he taught sometimes when the imam wasn't there. The imam's like the priest.
Right.
And so when he wasn't there, Sharif taught it. But besides that, he just he was always around, but he didn't always teach the classes.
Individuals on the autism spectrum like Corey may experience social interaction challenges. Visiting a mosque frequently but not establishing connections could be linked to difficulties in forming and maintaining relationships in traditional social settings. Online communities might offer a more controlled and predictable environment for social interaction. Online communities offer selective socialization along with a sense of belonging and connection in a controlled and predictable environment, especially for individuals who may face challenges in traditional social settings. Corey's participation in these communities might fulfill his need for connection and shared interests in a way that aligns with his communication preferences. But such spaces have a dark side too. They act as echo chambers where like-minded individuals reinforce each other's beliefs and can ultimately contribute to radicalization. It leads to confirmation bias, making people more likely to only pay attention to information that agrees with what they already think.
It made you angry and you were glad you had the knife when your bike was stolen. You flashed it at some kids. You said it was yesterday?
Yes.
Where was that?
It was at the plaza because I had my bike locked to a tree.
Mm-hmm.
I came back and it wasn't there, and the lock was on the ground. It looks like somebody smashed it and it broke, and they took the bike. And I saw some kids acting suspicious. It was 4 kids, and I started like heading their direction, and then one of them was like, "Hey, what's up? You good?" or something like that. And I pulled the knife out of my pocket just to show them. I kept it close to my side, and they all ran away. So,
Were they about your age, younger than you, older?
about my age.
About your age. Was that the abandoned plaza, or was that the plaza you work in?
Let's see.
The abandoned plaza. But your bike was gone.
Yes.
Had that made you angry throughout the day?
No, it was just. I wasn't really upset or angry. I just couldn't go to work now. But I was actually headed.
That would
to
make
work.
me angry if someone stole my bike.
I was heading to work on foot, but I wasn't even halfway there, and I was already like 30 minutes late. So I decided to call up Kyle and just see where he was. He was at downtown, so I just decided to head there instead.
You walked there?
Yes.
So I want to try and just have you explain to me again the incidents in the house when you attacked Giovanni first. He hadn't attacked you physically, right? You weren't.
No,
there was no physical self-defense on
he
your
did
part.
nothing to me personally.
Okay. And no one had attacked you personally.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't pre-plan this, like when the time is right, I'm going to use my knife and hurt them. Can you describe to me now what you were thinking? What made you take those actions then?
Well, I wanted to hurt some disbelievers for what they've done, and then everyone. I was just on my phone, and I noticed everyone was asleep. So I figured, I guess now's a good time.
Were you talking to somebody? Were you reading scripture or what?
I was just watching YouTube videos, like unrelated, and then right before I decided, when I was thinking, ooh, maybe I might do this, I was reading just random verses from the Quran.
When you say you were looking at YouTube videos unrelated, what were you looking at?
Just it was just like a comedy videos. Really, there's a YouTuber called Grade A Under A. I was just watching his videos, completely unrelated to it.
And at some point, you switched to reading verses from the Quran.
Well, I was watching that, and then I was watching that with Kyle, and then Kyle got tired and went to his room, and then I switched from that to some language videos because I like languages, linguistics.
Okay.
And after I watched a couple of linguistics videos, that's when I noticed everyone was asleep, and I was thinking, maybe I should do this.
And what time was that? Do you remember from your phone?
Around 4.
Oh, you guys stayed up all night?
At what point do you start reading scripture? Right after that? After they go to sleep?
After they go to sleep, and I go out at the top of the stairs where Giovanni is.
Mm-hmm.
And I was thinking, I don't know how hard it is to kill someone with a knife. And I was just thinking, I was just trying to get some motivation, I guess, for reading the Quran.
Did it help?
What specifically?
Reading
Verses, what?
Well, I wasn't reading any verses like related to it. It was about Moses. It wasn't anything to do with what I did, or any violence or anything. It's just they calmed me.
By asking the same questions in different ways, the detective may be stress testing Corey's narrative. This approach aims to assess the robustness of the information provided and observe how consistent or resilient the details are under different lines of inquiry. Especially in the case of minors like Corey, who are in various stages of cognitive and emotional development, detectives are adapting their strategies to consider the developmental stage.
I'm not real versed in the religion, so I'm going to ask the question, and you just tell me yes or no. Was there any type of formal mental decision on your part to hurt disbelievers in general, like prior to that time, or was that just impulsive, like at the moment?
It wasn't impulsive. I knew I wanted to eventually hurt some. In Arabic, called kufar. The singular is kafir. Disbeliever.
Mm-hmm. And what does that mean? What's the translation?
Disbeliever.
Disbeliever.
Kappa?
Kafir is the singular, kufar is the plural.
Okay. And
how
it translates to disbeliever?
And how long ago did you know that you wanted to hurt some disbelievers?
A long time. Just
a year?
Yeah, I mean, a couple months after I converted, I guess, when I started learning about the religion properly.
Okay, and we're talking March or June of last year?
I guess well, I converted on the January 1st of the 2017. So
And how did you convert? How is that done? Is that done at the mosque? Is it done online?
You just say an Arabic phrase.
Okay.
And then you
so continue. Praying. You converted January 1st of 2017.
Yeah, and I guess since the FBI stopped by around stopped around about March, so it was somewhere between January and February, or January and March, where I started learning about that. I guess that's why the FBI terrorist watch list.
Was there any point that you became more dedicated to that?
No.
For instance, did the FBI visit sway you one way or the other, lessen it or increase it?
Well, at first it scared me a little, so I just started to lay low, but after a while I was just thinking, who cares? And I started being a bit more open about it. And then they visited Kyle, which kind of scared him, but it didn't really affect me. They were saying, I think he's going to do something soon. We didn't seem to scare him enough when we came over a year ago.
Did any of that thought process involve any weapon, any gathering of weapons? Do you have guns, explosives?
Well, the FBI was concerned that I get to my mom's boyfriend's guns because he's got a refrigerator-sized safe filled with guns. But I never got him. I never even held it, I don't think. The only thing I knew I could get was a knife, which is why I bought one.
So you couldn't get your hands on any guns. You couldn't get any
Not even if
explosives.
I
or
wanted
anything.
it.
Okay. So there's nothing at your house or your mom's house.
Like guns, explosives.
Yeah, anything like that. Nothing at the abandoned plaza we were talking about. So the only thing you get was a knife. Okay. So would it be accurate to say that you had been thinking about this in some respects since the spring of 2017,
Yeah, I guess so.
or before the visit from the
Sure.
FBI?
I guess slightly before the visit, and then they got a little scared, and then they visited me, and then it didn't change. So
Okay.
just ever since then.
Okay. You need some water?
Yeah, I'll take some.
Why don't I get you a bottle of water?
Did anybody ever talk at the mosque about doing anything like this?
Corey's initial fear in response to the FBI visit after he was placed on a terrorist watch list, followed by a later lack of impact, displays heightened emotional response that subsided over time. As Corey processed the situation, he may have reevaluated the level of danger posed by the FBI visit, leading to reduced fear as he adjusted his perception. In fact, the whole vulnerability, fear, and anger of being visited by the FBI might have transformed into defiance, fueling his urge to kill. Corey might have employed coping mechanisms to reinterpret the FBI visit in a way that reduced its emotional weight. Two of the most common mechanisms are, 1, cognitive reappraisal, which is a cognitive behavioral technique that involves reevaluating or changing one's interpretation of a situation to influence emotional responses, and 2, positive reframing, which is a specific form of cognitive reappraisal that involves consciously looking for and emphasizing positive aspects or alternative interpretations of a given situation.
So, something I didn't ask you, and we have, I'm trying to get this from the point of view of your actions. Everyone's there and their mindset. Was there any drugs used last night? Any weed, any pills, any synthetic weed?
The only thing we had were the vapes.
The vapes?
All it's got is nicotine, and I didn't use any nicotine.
Okay. How about your health? How's your health?
My health, physical health, and
Yeah.
mental health.
Both.
Physical health, I guess I'm alright. Mental health, I have I take a Zoloft. Well, I haven't taken it in a while. I took Zoloft, like an antidepressant, and I see a psychiatrist and a psychologist. A couple of days ago, because I didn't have it on me, I didn't bring it in my backpack. It's at my house, so I couldn't take it.
And how much were you taking it then?
It was just one pill, but it was 100 milligrams a day.
Okay. So you've been off it now for how long? About 2 weeks, you said you've been out on the streets?
No, less than. I haven't taken it in maybe like less than a week, couple days, 5 days, 4 days.
How do you feel then opposed to now?
I don't feel any difference when I take it or I don't take it.
Okay.
I don't think it's working.
Did it make you sleepy at all?
Nothing.
Didn't do anything.
It's supposed to make you sleepy, but it's either supposed to make you sleepy or it's unrestfulness. It just depends on the person, I guess, but I haven't felt any side effects or intended effects.
Okay.
Just
Is
way
that-
up my dose. Just way double.
Is that psychiatrist the first psychiatrist you've been to?
Yes.
Have you ever been Baker acted where you're taken to a psychiatric hospital?
No. I think my mom's threatened to bring me to one before.
Okay.
Just because of talk.
And how long have you had suicidal thoughts or talk?
I mean, not long. Maybe a month or 2, 3. I don't know.
Okay.
Just maybe even or just like it started in around 2018. It got serious. I've always been unhappy with. It's got more serious in 2018.
Okay.
Depression can influence various aspects of a person's life, including emotions, thoughts, and behaviors. Understanding Corey's experience with depression may offer insights into potential factors contributing to his actions or interactions, especially if the detective explores how depression has affected his daily life. Individuals experiencing depression may grapple with a sense of futility or identity crisis, which can be why Corey ended up down the rabbit hole of religious extremism. Extremist beliefs can offer a pseudo sense of control over one's life. It also gives a false sense of belonging. Along with this, extremist ideologies often thrive on simplistic views, which may resonate with individuals experiencing symptoms associated with depression.
So did they tell you what the medication was supposed to treat?
It's supposed to make you just more motivated, less depressed feeling.
Less depressed. Okay. You feel you were depressed then?
Yes.
Okay. And you feel that took part or had anything to do with what happened last night or early this morning?
Well, I guess because I don't really care about my life. I figured if I die from the police, then it doesn't really matter.
Why?
Because I don't really feel like I wanted to be alive. Because I don't enjoy life.
And that's been mostly since 2018, or was it earlier than that?
I've always felt like that, but it's gotten worse in 2018.
You said your physical health is fine, so you've seen doctors where you have no complaints.
Yes.
Okay. Do you suffer from any seizures or any traumatic brain injuries or anything?
No.
Okay. And prior to this medication, which was administered in 18 or prescribed in 18, you weren't on any medications,
Right.
other than maybe for an illness or something.
Right.
Okay. You don't have seizures. You don't have hallucinations of any kind. Okay. Can you describe generally how you were feeling before everyone went to bed that night? Was there anything unusual that day?
No, nothing unusual. I was feeling just my normal
A
self.
little tight.
Yes.
Go ahead. You can finish your answer.
What was I
You
saying?
said I asked you how you were feeling before everyone went to
Right.
bed. Generally that day.
I was feeling alright. I was just normal. I wasn't feeling any different than I normally do. Just normal self. It was the opportunity is why I decided to do that today. Not because I was feeling any different than I normally do.
Lift them up, sorry.
So the fact that everybody was asleep
Yeah, just made it easier.
Yeah.
Thank you.
and wouldn't put up much of a fight.
Yeah. Rather than like going out in public and attacking some people.
Do you think this would be more successful because of that opportunity?
Well, what the plan was I was going to. Because I've never done anything with a knife before. I wasn't really expecting what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I was expecting Giovanni to just stab him in the throat a couple times, or in the stomach, and he wouldn't be able to make any noise. And then I'd finish him off, and then I'd go to Dane, do Dane, and then I'd go down and tackle Lane. But it got messed up when Giovanni started screaming, and Elaine woke up, and that's how everything messed up.
It got a little bit more complicated.
Right.
He wasn't as passive or didn't shut up
Right.
as fast as you expected.
Cognitive flexibility refers to the ability to adjust one's thinking in response to changing situations. Corey's handling of the unexpected may reflect his cognitive flexibility, which is unusual to be seen in emotionally intense and stressful moments like a full-blown murder interrogation.
Let's take a break. We'll get you some water. I'll bet you finished that pretty quick. You're obviously pretty thirsty, so I'll get another cup of water for you. You all right otherwise? Need to use the bathroom?
No.
Did you eat normally yesterday?
Well, for me, normally I usually only have one meal a day. Usually I don't eat much. Yesterday I had McDonald's. I had a 20-piece
Chicken nuggets?
nugget at McDonald's, and then I had one slice of pizza at Giovanni's birthday party at, I think it's Grimaldi's, something like that.
Grimaldi's inside downtown?
Yeah.
So that's why Dane was there? And Kyle? Because Giovanni was having a birthday party?
They were always hanging out there, but Dane just decided to go with Giovanni because because he was there because of his birthday, and that's why he had a sleepover. Normally he wouldn't be able to because this is school today, but his parents allowed it because it was his birthday.
Did Giovanni have family there? Did he have like mom and dad and
Yeah,
aunts
his
and
whole
uncles?
family.
His whole family was there. Did you attend that?
I did.
You did? Okay. Did you have any issues with his family members? Did you guys eat inside or outside on the patio?
Inside.
Inside. Okay. Were you invited, or they just invited you in when you showed up?
They invited up. They let me sit down. They said hi. They greeted me, and like they just because I was with Dane, I knew Dane, and Giovanni was like Dane's best friend.
Okay.
So one of them. The only thing that bothered me about them was that they're drinking alcohol. But I mean,
Okay.
I didn't expect anything more from that.
Okay. You said you eat once a day. Is that because you're not at home and that's all you can afford, or is that part of your religious practice?
Neither. It's just I don't eat much.
You want to drink some water first, or want to go to the restroom first?
I'll go to the restroom.
All right, hang on a second, and we'll just make sure that it's clear for you to go in. All right.
Okay.
Offering food, water, and ensuring basic needs are met send a signal of goodwill and contribute to the establishment of rapport between the detective and the suspect. This creates a more comfortable environment, which is ultimately useful in humanizing the interaction. It can shift the dynamic from an adversarial one to a more empathetic exchange, creating an atmosphere where the suspect may feel more inclined to share information. And right after that, the detectives ask him about his motive to hurt Giovanni once again, hoping to get a more elaborate and truthful account of the events. During his trial, Corey Johnson's defense argued that his severe depression, medications, and online activities, including watching ISIS videos, influenced his behavior, leading him to become psychotic and delusional. They sought a not guilty verdict by reason of insanity. However, prosecutors contended that Johnson intentionally sought extremist content to harm those he considered inferior. A state psychiatrist stated that, in their opinion, Johnson could differentiate between right and wrong. Dr. Michael Scott, a neuropsychologist, diagnosed him as high-functioning autistic, noting above-average intelligence but delayed maturity and severe mental illness. In November 2021, Corey Johnson was found guilty of first-degree murder and 2 counts of attempted murder. In January 2022, he was sentenced to life in prison by Circuit Judge Cheryl Caracuzzo after a 3-hour hearing in West Palm Beach. The intersection of mental health, extremism, and a tragic crime made this case even more difficult. Corey Johnson's journey, marked by depression, autism, twisted family dynamics, and extremist ideologies, led to an act that defies an easy explanation, but definitely showcases multifaceted nature of human behavior. The FBI tried to give Corey some suggestions, but that was more like a rule for him, not an advice. Corey couldn't stick to it. Perhaps he wanted to show his defiance. We'll never know. Good education, some hobbies, a channel to vent emotions, steady guidance, and some support is needed to steer the youth in the right direction. Given the context, we invite you to share your thoughts and insights on this case. Which narrative of the court seems closer to the truth? What could be the psychology behind such belief and motive for killing someone? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. If you would like us to cover any specific case, please drop your suggestions. Also, remember to like, comment, and subscribe so that we can keep covering such cases. Until next time, stay safe.